Greetings, I am V3D1, and welcome back to Leave It to VACCI. In this episode, we once again send out our Commando droids in order to complete the mission to eliminate opponents with an assault rifle. So join us for that, and we will meet you there.
This will be the only match today that is any different than the norm, as the quest that I get done with today will earn me a point on the ledger, drive a boat. Yeah. Literally that simple of a quest was capable of giving me a one and only point for the first time in months. Remember back when the series started, there were semi-regular uploads in February which dropped off 2 episodes in? Preparing our commentary is not as easy as you might think, viewers. Especially for matches that are nearly or over 10 minutes in length. But, I digress. I landed on this scout tower in Weeping Woods, and smashed my way in to get at the chest to my left. Inside was an assault rifle, which I eagerly took, as it was required for one of my quests. I also searched the ammo box, hoping for more medium bullets, but instead getting heavy and light bullets. Lastly, I grabbed the bandages, making my current total 10. I know they can only repair our systems to 75%, but it's better than nothing. Now I'm headed down the stairs to confront the foe, setting off my sonar. Once I catch sight of them, I open fire, even as they try to knock down the scout tower with their harvesting tool. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure why some loopers are like this, but I'm not going to turn down a free kill. Anything to speed up progress on the quest itself. Now, I'm moving on with the rest of the match, with one assault rifle elimination already on my ledger. I go back to the base of the scout tower, picking up some wood and shotgun shells in the process. I then pick up the med kit, which I would use if I just barely survived a firefight against my next foe. I briefly considered passing through without investigating either the house or bridge. As I was halfway through this point, I then backtracked and started investigating the bridge. Despite my initial disinterest, I conceded to the fact that something useful could be on any part of that bridge, and by not investigating it, I would miss out on potentially better weapons. And it led into the next predicted eye. So, for safety's sake, I'll be crossing the bridge, and making my way northward. As expected, there was a chest on the bridge, which I move in to search. Inside was a suppressed SMG, some bandages, light bullets, and wood. As with one of my predecessors, I take everything from the chest, and make my way the rest of the way into the eye. Or at least, that was my original plan. An opponent was shooting at me, activating my self-preservation programming. Not willing to let them get away with threatening me, and having a quest to do anyway, I move in to pursue this foe, ready to blast them to oblivion with however much of the magazine it takes to eliminate them. As I close in on them, and they land some solid shots on me, I build a wall to prevent any more shots from hitting me, and try to figure out where they went as I had done so. I eliminated the foe right in front of the house, gaining my second elimination. Once my third opponent moved to where my second opponent had once been, I blast them with my assault rifle as well, eliminating them on the spot. I then move in to collect the weapons, ammo, building materials, and medical supplies they dropped, and once I did, I moved on with the rest of the match. As you might expect from a commando droid built for the express purpose of battle, my self-preservation programming was still on high alert, and I was checking my surroundings vigilantly for more nearby opponents or better weapons, more ammo, building materials, and medical supplies. If I were an organic soldier, my adrenaline would probably be pumping by now, because the battle I just finished was pretty intense. I mean, sure, I only took one hit, but if you get hit enough by any weapon, even the weakest, you'll be eliminated. And I know that's obvious, but assault rifles don't need that many hits to take down even fully shielded players. Maybe 7 or so would be enough to kill the enemy, 6 with a green heavy assault rifle. As such, I'm fortunate to have managed to take down the enemy with the speed and wit I exhibited, or I would have been eliminated in their place. I then move on to search the rest of the woods for more enemies, ammo, building materials, medical supplies, and or better weapons. There is clearly no reason to rush to the eye, as I was already in it. So I know with 100% certainty that that's not what I was thinking. Therefore, there are only 5 other reasons I could think of that I would be wandering around like this. And at 75% system integrity, you may think me arrogant for still searching for an opponent, but why should I fear most of them? Besides the odd architect that either provides a challenge at best, or proves impossible at worst, there were very few opponents that could stand against the might of the Confederacy of Independent Droids. I was so confident, in fact, that I was en route to Salty Towers by this point. However, before you predict my swift demise, let me dismiss that prediction by saying that we are only halfway through the clip at this point. If anyone is going to be granted a swift elimination, it's whatever enemy dares challenge me before the next 4 minutes and 22 seconds. I mean, seriously, do you really think that, after elimination, it would take over 4 minutes to save a clip? Please. You underestimate us at your own peril. I will demonstrate the power, perseverance, determination, patience, wit, and persistence of the Confederacy. Especially with me, at this point, having found some small shield potions. If I had a chance before, I had a fighting chance at this point, as this would raise my shield to 50%, making the ultimate total, without using the med kit, 125. However, now that I knew that I had no further excuses to repair my systems now that my shield was currently the maximum it could be, I used the first med kit, putting my total up to 150. And I know that's not the maximum amount of damage that you can withstand should you fully restore both health and shield. It was the best I could do at this point, as I didn't have a shield potion. I had small shield potions and a med kit. And I do mean small shield potions, plural, as I had just obtained a further 3 from the room behind me. Despite being a popular landing spot, Salty Towers was currently a ghost town. Nobody was around, and most of the city was buried in sand. Many of the competitors would count this as a blessing, as they can't handle the high-pressure situations, but I had a quest to do that the popularity was perfect for. However, as I said before, there could be an architect that takes me down in a situation such as that, and I'd probably end up eliminated without even making any progress, so I digress. Now I'm building up to the 3rd story of this building, and breaking down the wall, entering the building once again to search for more supplies or better weapons. Immediately after the wall fell, I saw a suppressed SMG, weaker than my own, and some light bullets right beside it. I grabbed the bullets, and paid the SMG no heed. However, I did grab the green tactical shotgun from the upper floor, and carried on with the rest of the match. Soon after I jumped down from the upper story, the storm closed on the current eye, and the forecast predicted that the next eye would be further north. And while I'm confident that I can take most enemies on, I'm not so ignorant to the dangers of the storm. I only have one med kit, and I don't particularly want to be caught in the storm, so I will hurry as fast as I can to the next predicted eye. As I was talking, I entered the next predicted eye, so there was no further need to hurry. All I had to do from here was resume my search for better weapons, or more enemies, ammo, building materials, and or medical supplies. One such place to search for the latter 4 are the colored steel bridges scattered throughout the island. And by colored, I mean red, purple, green, blue, and yellow. Once I get to one side of the red steel bridge, I start breaking the tanker full of slurp to get my shield the rest of the way full. It's absolutely amazing that it works like that. Even on contact, this miraculous substance can heal wounds and repair damages to a droid's systems. Now I'm jumping into the river to fight against the captain of this motorboat. As with every other fight before the 9-minute and 28-second mark, this fight will only end in my victory. All I have to do is overwhelm the opponent with my assault rifle. And given they are driving on land and depending on the boat's missiles, that shouldn't even be a challenge. At this point, another opponent seemingly popped up out of nowhere, and we engaged one another in short-lived, brutal combat. The motorboat captain was next, as they were still in their boat, firing missiles at me. It took a little bit longer to eliminate them because some of those shots hit the boat, instead, but as I predicted, they were no challenge at all. Now I'm moving in to collect the loot that dropped from my opponent. And now, it's confession time. I completed the boat challenge by accident because I needed to move it out of the way in order to replenish my supply of ammo. So, there you go. There's the truth. And now, there's only 17 seconds left of the clip. I dare say, however, with both quests shown off, there is nothing more to discuss this match. At least, in this clip. As I said before, the previous clip was the only one that was different. From here on, it's merely progress on the mission to eliminate opponents with assault rifles. Unfortunately, by the time the Confederacy had submitted the completed mission, someone else had already completed the mission and submitted the footage. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I had blocked myself off after having saved the clip, and restored my shield to 50%. Once I did so, I then edited the wall into a triangle, and moved on to the rest of the match. I moved to collect what I could down by the river, which included a more powerful tactical shotgun. Even though the mission was to eliminate opponents with assault rifles, sometimes you have to switch to plan B to survive. And the tactical shotgun is my plan B from up close. I only had 5 minutes and 3 seconds left in the match from the time this clip started. Therefore, neither of my plans ultimately worked, and I am soon to be eliminated. At the time, I didn't know that, so I marched on. Even if I was somehow able to predict my elimination, I would have marched on without question. That is the duty of a commando droid. In fact, that is the duty of any soldier within the Confederacy, regardless of role. That's not to say that reckless strategies are encouraged. All I'm saying is, if it is possible to eliminate the opponent, and complete the mission, then it is their duty to fight. Fearlessly, ferociously, and swiftly. With the strategic prowess of experienced soldiers. We are an army to be respected by our allies, and feared by our enemies. Now I'm fighting against the IO guards. And sometimes there are missions to eliminate IO guards, so I was going to attack them with extreme prejudice. At first, I was firing at them only once the crosshair was at its smallest, but soon after that failed twice in a row, and hit once afterwards. I started spraying those guards with my assault rifle, putting them down swiftly afterwards. I then move on to Pleasant Park. If there was a chance to upgrade the rest of my gear, I was willing to search a town to get them. I made sure to move erratically as I made my way to the front of this greenhouse, and once I made it to the entrance, I wasted no time entering and closing the door so as to slow down any would-be assailant. I then started applying my med kit. You may be confused by me deciding that this was the safest place to do so, as the door was right beside me, with the hinges being on the other side. However, I still have 2 minutes and 27 seconds left, so I was just fine in the long run. However, once I finished applying the med kit, I awaited my opponent, albeit with my suppressed SMG at the ready, despite my mission requiring elimination by assault rifle. An explosion occurred outside, although the exact cause was unknown. I think the sounds of explosions of gas pumps and gas cans are different from the sounds of the explosions caused by rocket launches. As such, I believe the cause may be a gas pump. Now I'm moving to collect some more supplies from where an opponent had once been. Then I moved on to search for more opponents, following the sounds of gunfire on my sonar. At this point, I saw a structure being built in the distance. I made my way over to the opponent to engage them in combat. When they fired their lever action rifle again, I ducked behind this fence, and snuck up to them, getting ready to spray them as I had the IO guards. With combat well underway, I wasted no time belting out round after round until the opponent fell. This is what I was talking about when I said that, apart from the odd architect which build more than just a single wall, and work to get height over you at lightning speed before aggressively attacking you with whatever weapon they had on hand, very few loopers could stand against the mighty Confederacy. To my knowledge, the Confederacy of Independent Droids and Galactic Swarm Squad were the only teams that actually had official names, with the other two teams being unofficially named Team Mirage and Team Jester. I was watching for opponents whilst running from the storm, as I took gunfire from them after I had just finished off my opponent from earlier. However, my trip to the next eye was very uneventful. Despite the shot that had hit me earlier, my assailant had dropped clean off the radar. I applied a bandage, just in case, then moved on the rest of the way into the eye. At this point, there were less than 40 seconds remaining, so the next fight may be my last. It just depends on when said fighters, and how long it lasts. And now I believe I know the answer to both questions, as there's a metal tower in the distance. This is what I mean when I say architect. Loopers that build structures like these. Yet, they don't always build them like this. Sometimes, they look even more erratic and chaotic. Regardless, I'm making my way to the base of the tower in order to begin executing my usual strategy, hiding in the base of the structure, awaiting my opponent, and attempting to ambush and eliminate the enemy should they spring my trap. And this is the last clip of this episode, as well as the second longest, clocking in at exactly 8 minutes. And as my predecessor said, only the first and longest clip had anything different than the norm on it. Now it's back to the old grind, and I will try to get as much progress as I can on the mission. This starts out similarly to the first clip, though with more chests. Out of the last one I searched came a charged shotgun. This weapon just seems clunky in function, because it needed to be charged to reach its full potential, and the sounds it made while charging were loud, making it a terrible ambush weapon. Therefore, to the Confederacy of Independent Droids, they had no use, and I didn't even bother picking it up. This time, the next predicted eye of the storm was to the right of the bridge in Weeping Woods, so I could safely swim across the river this time, given there are no enemies in my way. However, the only enemy that would be any threat to me would be one that would show up after the next 7 minutes and 1 second. Still yet, I decided to cross the bridge instead of the river, as the bridge, as my predecessor said, could have better weapons and more supplies than I already had. However, the only thing I retrieved from the bridge was some ammunition, so I moved on to the log cabin in the distance. There was plenty of time left, especially with the next predicted eye so close to the cabin, so I searched it for weapons, ammunition, medical supplies, and building materials, as we always do per our protocol. Although before I went into the cabin itself, I tried to jump over these bushes as a shortcut, though they made the jump tricky and slowed me down, instead. Now I'm inside the log cabin itself, and preparing to search the cabin thoroughly for the supplies I need. One such supply was a suppressed SMG, which I replaced my pistol with. Pistols are powerful, and have a high firing rate, but their semi-automatic nature makes them more challenging to master, and given we had 3 months to master the equipment, we often decide to substitute them for something we've already mastered, such as the aforementioned SMG. After clearing the table and chairs away, I searched this chest, but only got what I already had, and grenades, medium bullets, and stone. This time, only half of the contents were valuable, so I took that half, and moved on to the rest of the cabin. I'll be searching this icebox to see what laid within, snagging some shotgun shells in the process. With only a flopper and some small fries coming out, I deem this search a waste of time, of which I had increasingly little left. Still, I checked this room for more supplies, as I still had 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. And on top of that, this section of the cabin was in the next predicted eye, so I had more time to search this wing before it got too dangerous to continue. For those of you screaming at your screen about me not breaking walls or the bush that was in my way, bear in mind, the Confederacy has a different play style than yours, and so what you would do, we would rarely do, and vice versa. We tend to focus more on stealth, assault, and ambush. Whatever materials we collect from chests and off the ground are often all we get. Many competitors within the score war have the same play style, so aside from our voices and personalities or programming in the Confederacy's case, it's slightly difficult to tell us apart. However, unlike the other teams, every single member of the Confederacy gets to speak, whether they are in charge of the intro, or getting progress, or even completing missions in the field. Every member gets a voice and personality. Take myself and JEV2, for example. We're commanders of the army, and thus have a serious programmed personality. We're probably the only two models exactly alike in programming. The Escort Droids have serious programmed personalities, as well, but where we Commandos have leadership roles, they have escort roles, and are thus more protective of who they are assigned to than us Commandos. Then you have the Infiltrators. They are programmed to be sneaky, serious, yet loyal. Whatever tactics and intel they glean from enemy forces, they'll be sure to report to V2, our Supreme Commander. And then you have the black sheep of the Confederacy, the V3 demolition droids. They follow the trope of Irish explosives expert. Anything you want blasted or demolished, they will do so with terrifying efficiency. Just watch Fortnite Follies, Abandoned Soldier, and you'll see what I mean. However, until recent upgrades, the V3 was very limited in combat, and thus, they were unable to perform well in combat, and have since been reassigned to doing the intro and outro of the series. Maybe they'll get more screen time in future seasons, but as it stands right now, they have been given secretarial roles, to their chagrin. After having defeated the Mandalorian, I took both his unique sniper rifle and his jetpack, then searched the rest of this space-age building for more supplies. This included some medium bullets near yet another green assault rifle. For whatever reason, This match thinks green is the best color for me. I mean, look at this. I'm more than halfway through the match, and all I can get, aside from the Mandalorian's weapon and jetpack, are green and grey weapons. Are they trying to suggest that I'm too skilled to get anything stronger? That would be flattering, but there's only so far that sheer skill alone can take anyone. As I entered yet another corridor, I was disappointed to find the very supplies I dropped for the Mandalorian's jetpack, bandages. I of course passed them over, as I'd already replaced some, and I didn't want any more. I searched this chest instead, getting, you guessed it, yet another green weapon, this time, a green tactical shotgun, which I promptly ignored. After having checked the entire building for supplies, I give up on getting stronger weapons from here, and just make my way out towards the desert to continue on with the rest of the match. I throttle the jetpack to safely travel faster throughout the desert, as to go too high would expose yourself to fall damage, sometimes severe in nature. Therefore, whenever jetpacks are back in the game, if you decide to use one, I'd highly recommend that you throttle it so that you stay closer to the ground. In the cases where you need to go uphill and the cliff face is too steep, which you can tell by the lack of grass on it, the jetpack can carry you up it, unless it's too high. Then you risk fall damage because you chanced it when it was impossible. For the Mandalorian's jetpack, this doesn't appear to be too particularly high or far. As such, extreme precautions should be taken prior to any flight. Now I'm making my way through Hunter's Haven, the place where we were created thanks to V2 and Lexa's collaboration. Well, I should say, shotgun collaboration, since V2C1 held her hostage until she agreed to give her some new soldiers to work with. Yes, while V2 dutifully fulfills her mission to keep the loopers from leaving the island, she can be very ruthless. She feels like she has to be in order to complete her mission and survive. Now I'm entering a building with the insignia of our employers, the Imagined Order. I have met up with IO guards often, and each time, it has been a negative reception. You would think, since they hired V2 to keep loopers from leaving the island, they would be a little nicer. Instead, the only member who was even remotely civil was Agent Jones, the blonde-haired man V2C1 mentioned. Now it's time to discuss my final battle. Fresh off my victory against Lexa, another looper zips up, and engages me in combat, putting me on the defensive. I build a hut to keep him from hitting me, and make multiple attempts to repair my systems with a med kit, but he was too aggressive, and wouldn't leave me alone.
And that appears to be all the time we had for today. Join us in the next episode when we eliminate opponents with assault rifles. Yep, that's pretty well it. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you all next time. Until then, farewell.